Okay, I know I'm doing this episode a little bit differently because I'm on my bed, but I tweaked my shoulder and I don't want to move. So, there you go. Alright, so time for week 7 waiver wire winners. At quarterback, there was a couple of them: Matt Moore, Todd Bauman. Both of them are owned in 5% or fewer of fantasy football leagues. But I decided to give my nod to the player that scored the highest or that had the highest fantasy points for quarterbacks this week, Ryan Fitzpatrick. Honestly, when am I going to stop being surprised by this guy? 374 passing yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and 20 rushing yards. In, in your typical fantasy football league, he scored nearly 31 fantasy points. I think that we all have a bias against players from Buffalo because for years Buffalo's offense was non-existent. But I guess now we need to finally realize that this team has an offense, as shocking as that may sound. And I know that they're the only winless team left in the NFL now that Carolina got a win this week. But I honestly think that if Ryan Fitzpatrick can keep up this pace, I think that they have a shot. They're definitely going to win games. I can guarantee that. I think that the Bills will have. I think they'll have at least 5 wins by the end of the season. All right. That may sound kind of crazy, but I stand by it. So there's one player. There's your quarterback. At running back, okay. After the performance that the Raiders were able to put up against the Broncos, I have to throw in at least one Raider into my waiver wire winners, and I'm going to do just that with Marcel Reese, the fullback for the team who's owned in pretty much no fantasy leagues. He's still got 39 yards rushing, 19 yards receiving, and a touchdown. Good performance by him. But really, I think that that's just a sign of how much um, the Raiders just plain dominated the Broncos. I mean, when your third string running back is putting points on the board, yeah, that's a sign that they've got you where they want you and they're not going to let go. I mean, Oakland was just crazy, ridiculous good this week. And the sad part is, I don't think it was a fluke. Now, I don't think that they're going to put up a 59 burger on any other teams in the near future, but I do think that Oakland is a legitimate team. It's kind of surprising. A lot of the teams that we thought, or at least I thought last year, were total abominations. This year, they're pretty viable. Buffalo, they've got something going. Oakland, they've obviously got something. Who else? Detroit, KC, Tampa Bay. Teams are turning a corner, and all of a sudden, there's a whole lot more. What's the word I'm looking for? Balance in the NFL. All right, there, more teams are able to step up. I'm just surprised. Did I say the Rams? Well, if I didn't, then the Rams too. It's just crazy. At wide receiver, I'm going to go with David Geddes. Another guy playing for a team that isn't looking too great. They're one of the few teams that I actually don't have a lot of confidence in. But yeah, David Geddes got his first, and the Carolina Panthers got their first win of the season against the San Francisco 49ers. Geddes is owned in only 2% of fantasy leagues, and I actually kind of saw this one coming. I did think that Carolina was going to get a win against San Francisco because it's not really that hard to do. Then again, getting a win against Carolina is not that hard to do, and San Francisco somehow messed that up. But still, my point is, I saw Carolina winning, and I thought that David Geddes would be a part of it. Now, I wasn't smart enough to actually act on this impulse and pick up David Geddes, but still, he still pulled down 125 passing yards and 2 touchdowns. Coming into this game, he didn't have any touchdowns, and he got 2 in one game. Good job, Mr. Geddes. That's 24.5 fantasy points. That, granted, Kenny Britt kind of outperformed you this week, but Kenny Britt's performance was ridiculous. But I give a tip of my hat to David Geddes this week. So, good job. Alright, now one more at tight end. Would you believe that only 9 tight ends scored a touchdown this week? And, well, actually there was 10 touchdowns scored by tight ends this week, and 2 of them came from Todd Heap. So, if you were lucky enough to own one of those 9 players, you did okay out of the tight end department. And one of the players that is on this list is David Thomas. 33 receiving yards and 1 touchdown. This wasn't a very big week for tight ends. There wasn't a single one that topped the 100-yard mark, and the closest one was earlier tonight by Dallas's Jason Witten, who got 95. But still, I think David Thomas was the waiver wire winner this week. There were a couple of others who didn't have a lot of receiving yards but got a touchdown. Andrew Corliss, I didn't choose him because he had a shot at another touchdown on the fake field goal try and just buckled. Rob Gronkowski, I didn't choose him because that's basically what he does. He gets those short yardage red zone receiving touchdowns. That's what he does. And then there's Michael Humanawani, and I didn't choose him because I don't even know if I said that right. Michael Humanawanui. I think I got it right that time. But he might become viable in the later weeks, but I didn't want to choose somebody who only had 12 receiving yards. I don't know. But yeah, David Thomas, the second stringer behind Jeremy Shockey in the Saints offense. Being from Louisiana, it's kind of hard to see New Orleans take such a big step back after their Super Bowl winning season, but I don't know what's going on with them. Excuse me. But David Thomas did pretty good for the team. The only problem with that is he's splitting so much time between Jeremy Shockey, and it's looking like he's getting most of the carries, or most of the targets. And you throw Jimmy Graham into the situation, and now it's just plain wacky. But, yeah, Thomas was the big guy this week. One of the few ones for New Orleans, but, yeah. So, anyway, that's just about it. At quarterback, it's Ryan Fitzpatrick. Running back, it's Marcel Reese. Wide receiver is David Geddes. And tight end is David Thomas. See you guys later.